Hello, TRT1 here, and I am back after a, let's put extended stay away from this, 3 years. But I am back now. I'm going to try and be more consistent with these videos. This is probably not going to be the typical type I do, but this is just kind of a ease my way back into it. And in the kind of time I've been gone, I've really got into competitive Pokemon, and a bit of me just kind of wants to discuss it. I find it fun. So for this return video, I am going to do an analysis of a team I've recently created for competitive, which is a doubles OU team that mainly takes advantage of the brand new Pokemon Fezandipiti that was introduced in the first Scarlet and Violet DLC. Now, this Pokemon is a Poison Fairy type. It is primarily got a high physical attack, however I personally run it as a special attacker in order to take advantage of the moves Dazzling Gleam and Icy Wind, which hit both your opponents, which not only deals really good damage, Icy Wind also lowers speed, and because of its ability Toxic Chain, you have a 30% chance to badly poison both your opponents, which in a game can really impact your opponent's strategy. It can really, for example, if they're trying to do like stall, it can really impact that because suddenly they're losing consistent health, which really kind of scuppers that idea. It also has Tailwind, which is kind of the primary thing it does on turn 1. I will kind of go more depths later when I show an example battle, in which basically it allows for my whole team's speed to be doubled for a few turns, which can really impact how the battle goes. It's primarily built to be quite bulky in order to guarantee that getting set up, and it holds a Citrus Berry in order to provide some healing if it takes a hit, which is always good to do. It is primarily partnered up with Hisuian Samurott, which was quite recently added to the game. The reason I find Samurott's quite a good partner for it is because, first off, it has access to a brand new move, or signature move called Ceaseless Edge, which sets up spikes, which also can really impact your opponent, because having spikes on the field, it decreases the likelihood that they'll want to switch their Pokemon around, because they know they'll keep taking consistent damage, which you don't really want. You don't really want to wear your team out by constantly switching. In doubles, moves like Defog and Rapid Spin aren't as common, so it's harder to remove them. So I find that to be quite a really good partnership. Another thing I find really good with Samurott is the fact that when you send the two out at the beginning of a battle, most people target the Samurott, which is one of the reasons why I run Protect on it, because then you can protect your opponent, try and nail that down, try and take it out, and they kind of forget about Fezandipiti, which means you really do get that Tailwind off, which is really useful. Meanwhile, it also has Razor Shell for powerful water stab, and Aqua Jet, which, although fairly weak, it provides you a priority move, which can really help if you just need to pick something off that's really low health. I have on it a Focus Sash, which means that even if your opponent manages to get a hit that would knock you out immediately, it gives you, well, basically allows you to survive for an extra turn. So that means you can then fire back with a Ceaseless Edge to guarantee the spikes, or Razor Shell to guarantee the KO, or if it means just on the next turn you can get an Aqua Jet off to finish them off, that can be really good. The other great thing about having Ceaseless Edge and Razor Shell is that they are boosted by its ability Sharpness, which was recently introduced, which increases the power of all slashing based moves. Although the team is primarily based around these two, it originally wasn't. Samurott was a later addition, because originally I was trying to run Ogerpon, but I just couldn't fully get it to work on this team. So I decided to experiment with Samurott. I found it worked really well alongside Fezandipiti. However, obviously this is a team of 6, not a team of 2, so the rest of the team is consisted of Landorus, who's been really well known and competitive for years. It is really powerful, having access to Intimidate to really impact, physical attackers on your opponent's team, Assault Vest to increase its special bulk, and a mix of Stomping Tantrum, which is a really good stab ground move, which also doesn't hurt your allies, like Earthquake, which, although powerful, has that kind of drawback. Stone Edge for power, however, I may get rid of it for Rock Slide to hit both opponents. I'm still on the fence on that one. U-turn, which allows for it to pivot in and out of battle, which really can help if you just need to get some damage off and switch. And Terra Blast, which fixes Landorus's kind of issue of not having a particularly good stab flying option, because it is my primary Terra Pokemon, although I can Terra other things. I have done it occasionally with Fezandipiti and Goldengo. I find doing it with Landorus is really good because it can help you take an ice move, a water move, resist a grass move, tons of stuff like that, and also most opponents aren't going to attack you with an electric move straight away because of the ground typing, so it can really help impact a game. Iron Bundle is also a very strong Pokemon on this team. Access to Icy Wind, which, like Fezandipiti, impacts speed. Freeze Strike, which provides really good coverage, is a fairly strong ice move that also is super effective on water types, and with how rampant Ogerpon's Wellspring form is at the moment, having an option like that can really help. Hydro Pump, just a straight powerful water type move, never a bad thing to have. And Protect to, well, sometimes it helps just to scout out an opponent, or if you need to stall them out, for example if they're poisoned, it's just a really good option to have. TM Pow, although maybe having two ice types isn't regularly a great thing, these two Pokemon are just so powerful, it works. Ice Spin is a really good ice move, Sacred Sword for coverage, Protect again, for the same reasons as mentioned with Iron Bundle. Sucker Punch, although maybe not the most consistent move, most people are attacking, not setting up, I find, in competitive doubles, so having access to a move which A, punishes that, but also provides a strong dark attack, I think is really good, as well as having a Life Orb to increase this power further, and combined with its signature ability Sword of Ruin, which decreases the defense stat of all Pokemon on the field, except Chien-Pao, it really does deal a lot of damage. And finally on the team is Goldengo. Now, Goldengo is the one I probably get the least usage out of. It's one I may replace in the future, but at the moment it really does help as a send out, use Make It Rain, which is choice specs boosted, which increases its power by 50%, and then just deal insane damage across both opponents. And with the popularity of Pokemon like Alolan Ninetales and Fluttermane, it can be a really powerful option to just finish them, or just take them out immediately. Combined with Shadow Ball for Ghost Stab, Thunderbolt for good coverage, it also runs Trick, which allows you to take its choice specs and move it onto something else, which, if it's a Pokemon that's heavily reliant on using like Toxic or something like that, and it doesn't want to really be locked into something, it allows you to lock it in. Or if it's a Pokemon which is using a move which may have been super effective on, say, Chien-Pao and Iron Bundle, so like a fighting move, and you then have Goldengo who's immune to it, and then you have Landorus who will resist it, it's good to lock them into that. So overall, I find the team has really good coverage. I think it really balances off each other really well, and it's one that I've currently been doing fairly well with online. It can be kind of day dependent. However, I am now going to show a example battle.
So here we have the battle. So as you can see, I start Fezandipiti and Samurott, my opponents starting with Alolan Ninetales and Blood Moon Ursaluna. Quite a surprising start this was, the opponent going for a Protect and a very early Terra Poison. I also protected instead with my Tailwind, whilst they went for a Calm Mind, which, as I said earlier, setup isn't common in doubles, so quite surprising. I decided to double attack, try and get some damage off on that Blood Moon Ursaluna, as they set up an Aurora Prevail and another Calm Mind. So, bit of a problem here. They're going to Clefairy, and I immediately know that they're going to try and go for some follow me shenanigans and try and protect that Blood Moon Ursaluna as long as possible. Focus Sash coming into effect there, allowing me to take that hit, and yep, there's follow me. Luckily, Icy Wind does hit both opponents, so I am still getting some damage on the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and that Toxic Chain activation being massive, because Clefairy can be quite bulky. Unfortunately, Fezandipiti goes down, but he kind of did what he needed to do. In comes Goldengo, Ceaseless Edge, try and get some spikes, make it rain to hit both opponents and get a double KO, which puts me slightly ahead, but obviously Samurott's weakened, so take that as you will. in with Ogerpon and Alolan Ninetales again. I stick with what I've got because even though I know Samurot's going to go down, it's done its job, and I know Make It Rain, even with my special attack down, will still kill the Alolan Ninetales, and a bit of chip damage on Ogerpon is never too bad. They go in with Iron Hands, I go Iron Bundle. I decide to swap out. Gholdengo could be useful later, so I go into Landorus Therian. Fortunately, that Spiky Shield protecting them from the Freeze Dry. Luckily, because of the snow, Iron Bundle's just bulky enough to take the hit and kill the Ogerpon the next turn. As I Stomping Tantrum, get some damage off, but unfortunately that had a Citrus Berry, allowing it to take the hit. Luckily, snow again allows Iron Bundle to live. I decided to swap into Gholdengo here because both these Pokemon are now weak, so I might as well just sack them both. But I do get the Icy Wind to slow my opponents down. Yeah, both Pokemon down there, as you can see. I then can go into two fresh, clean Pokemon. They're now at -1 speed. They've now got their attack down. I Terra Flying here in order to, increase the power of Terra Blast and to get the stab off. Rock Slide, I don't think doing as much as they would have liked there. So I'm able to finish the game with a 4 times effective Ice Spinner, giving me the win.
Now, the reason I chose to show that battle in particular was because I feel like it shows this team really well in full. It shows how Fezandipiti and Samurott work well off each other. Special attacker, physical attacker, setting up Tailwind, all that. Gholdengo also performed quite well here, managing to take out quite a fair few, like half the opposing team, which for this kind of battle was quite good to see. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen as much. Iron Bundle, the Icy Wind helping. It also showed how Stall Pokemon like that Clefairy could have been troublesome, but I felt like that Toxic Chain did whittle it down enough for future attacks to hit. Landorus Intimidate really, came to its effect specifically at the end, weakening both their Landorus and their Iron Hands. And although TM Power didn't get to do as much as maybe it would in most battles, it did, help outspeed and, finish off at the end, which was really good to see. So what can I conclude about this team? This team is very powerful, is very strong, is really good at breaking through opponents. It's got enough bulk that it can take on more hyper-offensive teams. The Tailwind can really benefit, particularly in the early stages, and if Fezandipiti can stay in quite a while, which I have in quite a few battles, it can then set it up later in the game, so you can get a lot of really good turns of having that advantage in speed. However, although this team is very strong, I have won the majority of battles with it, it does have a few particular weaknesses. Primarily, I say Trick Room teams have been quite a bit of a difficulty, mainly because they put a stop to, if I mispredict and I set up Tailwind, it means that I'm now at a major disadvantage for a while. It also means that moves like Icy Wind on both Fezandipiti and Iron Bundle become near enough not usable because suddenly I'm giving them more of an advantage. Maybe if you use it like on last turn, it can help because then you can use it the next turn to benefit yourself. However, that's still a bit of a guessing game. Also, the team can struggle a bit against really strong stall teams because as that last battle kind of showed with that Clefairy, it was really hard to break through. I kind of got lucky in terms of having the Toxic Chain activation, which would normally, if that didn't happen, because there's only a 30% chance, could mean that teams solely based around that would have more of a time to chip away at my team. So, although really good, it does have those sort of weaknesses. However, overall, I would say that this is quite a powerful team. I would say it is more effective than it is ineffective. There are some changes I might do. Like I said, maybe Rock Slide on Landorus, maybe replace Gholdengo. However, as shown in that last battle, it can have its moments where it literally cannot be replaced by anything else as effective. So I might just experiment around a bit more. However, at the moment, I'm quite happy with the team. But anyway, thank you for watching. Like I said earlier, I know it's been a while. I am going to try and get back to making more regular videos. Maybe not specifically like this one. This was more of kind of a warm back into things. However, there's tons of ideas I want to experiment with based around Pokemon, TV, just kind of whatever I want. I'm not going to just do a specific thing. I want to kind of do a range of things that I personally enjoy. And if you're interested in that and hearing what I have to say, then stick around. Anyway, I've been TRC11. Thank you for watching. I will see you all next time.